conversations to be had about a lot of stuff related to how we handled the coronavirus. Were lockdowns effective? Was there enough data to support the huge measures we took? Why didn't we have the option to show I was infected a month ago? Why do I need to be vaccinated? Why wasn't that option ever a thing in the United States? I don't think it was. There are really good questions to be asked there. But all the people asking the questions are also trying to tell you that ivermectin and monoclonal antibodies are the way to go for everything, and the vaccine is evil, and they're just going to turn you gay like the frogs.
Yeah,
and it's like, geez.
Well, so fast forward, not too much, but a little bit to today. I mean, you have Piers Morgan saying that the vaccine causes turbo cancer. He said it. I have to be careful. The lollipop causes turbo cancer. And so, this wait and see method that we have that, people like to adopt so that they can be politically correct. I don't want to look crazy. I don't want to look like Alex Jones. It's like, bro, when it comes to my body, and I could take much better care of it, I know, I need to ask as many questions as possible. I don't care what I look or sound like, especially with something new. Okay, so Destiny is going to end up getting checked by, of all people, Lex Fridman. And the reason why I say that is because, I find Lex Fridman to be just a tad bit boring. But, he gets around to making a good point sometimes. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Like there's no place to reasonably criticize from, because all of the people that are criticizing aren't doing it with an open mind, or they're not reading studies or doing anything. They're saying I do my own research, which means they listen to whatever the last guy on Joe Rogan said, and now they're parroting that opinion 100%.
Easy now.
Yeah.
Easy now, bro.
The last guy on Joe Rogan, not Joe Rogan. Okay, that Robert Malone guy on Joe Rogan got me real fired up.
That's one guest.
People see him as the father of mRNA technology. He published one paper. Okay,
what do you mean?
But he knows more than you do, right? How many papers did you publish on it? So if I had to choose, if I had to choose, I would go to the person who, at least, if I had to choose between Destiny and Robert Malone, I would go to the person who at least published one paper on it. Who are you?
I mean, people. Which people think that?
Joe Rogan fans. I get I run into these people. I start arguing with people, and they start sending me. But what about?
I'm a Joe Rogan fan, and I appreciate the vaccine.
That's good. I'm glad you do. But there's definitely
but you said there's a type. There's a type. What's the type? What's the type of Joe Rogan fan?
Anti-establishment.
I think that's not Joe Rogan. That's a general public discourse. There's a default anti-establishment on the right and the left. That's the default easy thing to go to.
I think Joe Rogan fans are definitely a certain type of anti-establishment, though. I could guess.
Okay, so I want to go back to a little bit of what Lex just said about the default easy thing to go to. This, I don't know about other countries. This country was founded on being anti-establishment, and I believe in those kind of values. I do. I don't think that you should trust authority. Okay, let me be careful. So again, I don't sound radical. I think you should question everybody. Okay, there's nobody under the sun that you can't question, in my mind. The Lord even pretty much says to question him in his, with all due respect to God, right? But God does not force us to believe him, right? We have free will to not believe in God. So if I have free will to question, because then if you don't believe it, you question it, maybe you're not sure, the Lord, the creator, who are you? So to say it's the default easy thing. Lex, I don't trust people. And that is not a kooky way to be. Okay, so anyway, but Destiny's trying to come at Joe Rogan viewers and stuff, and Lex and Joe Rogan, they are pretty cool or whatever. And I like what Joe Rogan does. I don't watch the show all the time, but I just if I'm cleaning the house, definitely. Okay, 4 hours. Okay, I don't even have to look back at the phone again. But so there, there's that. But let's look at this a little bit more, and please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you to every eye that lands on this video.
Left, that's the default easy thing to go to.
I think Joe Rogan fans are definitely a certain type of anti-establishment, though. I could guess the Joe Rogan fan. If I were to do general population versus Joe Rogan fan, who do you think is more likely to be anti-vaccine?
Do you have data on this? Or are you just guessing?
Yeah, just guessing.
Yeah, I think you are actually judging.
I am.
I think you're judging, because I think you're also. The beautiful thing about podcasting, this could be similar to streaming, is there's a large number of people that just listen, Like, what does it mean to be a Joe Rogan fan?
I don't think you just listen. I think people listen and absorb the information.
I would say that the Joe Rogan fan base is as divided in the vaccine as the general public.
Gotcha. Man, I'm going to look for polling data on that. I'm sure somebody's got to have done it out there, but
No, but you're basically revealing the fact they have no data. You're using your own judgment.
for sure.
So
Based on how he's had conversations about how his experience with the coronavirus, and then based on the guests that have come on that have talked and echoed a lot of like anti-vax talking points and been complete.
So anti-vax talking points. I remember when this word started coming out. Now, first of all, I will say Lex Fridman is very animated in this episode. This is as animated as Lex Fridman gets. So shout out to him because he really was worked up here. So anyway, so let me not say this word too much because I don't want to trigger a label. It's your body. It's your body. If you don't want to put something in it that you feel like you don't need, I mean, that is your decision to make. I'll leave it there. I remember that label when it started coming out back in 2020. I was like, what is anti-vax? I said, why does somebody have to have that label? Like, can't they just not want this thing? Why do they need to be labeled? And then I started learning, like, oh, okay, this is what we do. We label people so we can say bad thing, good thing. It's your body.
Completely unchallenged, and then based on statements he's made about like myocarditis and the vaccine and everything as well. Yeah.
So it's the level of challenge or not that he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and then what his true positions are, and then the types of guests he typically chooses to bring on to talk about the vaccines. Yeah.
Okay, but that represents somehow a deep anti-establishment feeling versus just a vaccine. I mean, I've seen the vaccine and other things being a thing that broke people.
I think all the coronavirus, that whole 1 or 2 years broke a lot of people.
There's a lot of emotion, and the emotion quickly solidified into an opinion that almost had nothing to do with like thinking through and updating your knowledge and so on. You just made up your mind.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it comes from that anti-establishment place. Like the vaccine represents the ultimate of establishment. It was a huge private company backed by a huge public government, and there's Fauci, and there's Biden, and there's Pfizer, and there's all these countries locking us up in our homes, telling us to do a thing. Like the vaccine was like the ultimate like submission.
Do you hear what you just explained? There was all these countries locking us up at home, telling us to do a thing. What is happening? I immediately not want to do that thing. Imagine it really went just like that, and it felt like it did. Where it was like, yo, stay in the house, and people were showing up to your door with the thing, whatever the thing was. I'd be like, get the hell out of here. Like, right? That's how you should be. And his thing is like, you know, oh, because that happened, that's why people don't like the vaccine, and they just think it's ultimate establishment. You know, before, when this was happening with, especially like in 2020, when it was first coming out, and I mean, I knew from the rip as a registered nurse, I was like, I'm not touching that. I don't have to touch that lollipop because, number one, this is new. I don't just put anything inside of me, you know, besides certain foods. I'm working on this. And also, but this is something different. mRNA is shellacking all lipid profile, you know, shelling around this and that. I was like, oh, no. But, you know, I was told that I was the worst person because of that, or I was like the worst nurse or whatever. And I had already had it, right? So I was like, absolutely not. This goes not directly against my feelings about the establishment. I was like, this goes directly against my education. Okay, so it wasn't just about that. Like you podcasters and streamers, y'all made it about that, but it wasn't about that. I think to the regular person.
And tool to like show you that the government owns you. Not only do you have to get injected once, it's a series, and then you got to get boosters, and it's like they're trying to keep you under their thumb, and that's the control. I feel like that vaccine became like the ultimate rallying cry between like, do you support? Are you a sellout that is going to believe whatever the government tells the sheep to take, or are you going to be like the guy that stands against the crowd and gets fired from his job and pulls his kids from school because they're not going to let the evil Fauci medicine, you know, jab them in the arm?
And the funny thing is, the crowd that stands against the institution is not larger than the crowd of sheep. There's like one sheep standing there.
Sure, yeah. Or it feels that way sometimes.
One vaccinated sheep. But okay, well, what's the defense of institutions? How do you regain the trust of institutions? Like, first of all, do you think that there's ways in which WHO, CDC failed, And do you think there's criticism towards Pfizer and the big pharma companies that's deserved?
Damn, the pharma companies, I'm not sure. For CDC and WHO, so here's a criticism that I have of all of academia, and I feel it's stronger and stronger every day. I don't think it's enough to be a researcher or to be correct about issues. Academia needs to increase its ability to communicate. It is just an unbelievable, unmitigated failure that academics are unwilling to wade into the complicated topics that exist.
Yeah. All right. So we'll just leave it there because he's talking about theory and stuff. Like, it's been done to this country in many ways is extraordinary. Okay. Like, to go into academia about, all these theory classes. I remember when I went to community college because I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a prosecutor, and I would have made a damn good one. I just want you to know. But I remember taking philosophy 101, and I was good at it. I could stretch my mind. The teacher really liked me. I'm glad I got out that class, right? Oh, God, who knows where I would have been. But at the time I was living with my parents. My father wouldn't have allowed me to come home with like a septum nose ring and like my hair shaved. He'd have been like, get out. But no, anyway, coming back to this point of what this is. Again, Destiny makes it all about like this rallying cry and all, the media did that. Y'all did that. The first time I ever heard Destiny speak was at a Minds event in New York. It was actually live. I'd never heard of this guy before. And when it came to the vaccine, the way he was talking about it and looking down and just like rambling on, and he was like, you guys just want to be cool. And I said, somebody needs to go check on this kid because I think something's wrong with him. And this is a registered nurse, like assessment. I'm telling you, I was like, he's too worked up, And then I, obviously I was like, oh, this is, okay, the gimmick, blah, 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 whatever. The fact is, again, what was done to us is something I'll never forget. Like, I tell you, it changed me. Like, these people could sit here and have this wonderful, calm discussion about it. Oh, I got the vet. Like, they told me I had to leave jobs. Like, they destroyed this country under this lollipop. Yeah, people don't trust institutions, and guess what? They are going to Joe Rogan for answers because he's bringing on people that were banned from mainstream media. So how is it his fault that he bought that guest, but mainstream media banned him? And then YouTube was banning it so bad that you couldn't even say the person's name. What? Okay. So, yeah. It is what it is. People lost a lot of trust. Nobody's ever been the same since. It is what it is. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.